Hey everyone, welcome back to Remnant 2. So you might have tried out a build called the Root Doctor, or at least tried something similar to it. While that build is incredible at support and being nearly immortal, it does have a few flaws. Mainly that your damage is complete garbage and the empathy suffix becomes your greatest enemy. Today, I bring you an alternative to that build idea in an attempt to give you the best chance in Apocalypse. We use Alchemist to support our team and revive instantly. We gain extremely high health regen to walk through attacks, powerful bleed and status damage, and of course, the amazing Shade Step that everybody knows and loves. This is the final Spartan, and how you can become the perfect weapon to fight back the Root. Now we're using Alchemist as our prime class. This grants us the unique perk of having 4 concoctions at any given time rather than just one. Be aware with the current state of the game, there's a bug or a slight cheat you can use to throw all 4 on and switch classes, keeping the perk without ever using Alchemist. Feel free to use it at your own discretion, as this is a PvE based game and nobody cares how you choose to play. I don't use it as a content creator for the game, hence why I'm sticking with it as my prime. You're also going to gain a 25% increase to all damage and a random buff when you use your Relic. This buff is extremely helpful and actually gets applied to your teammates if you're playing with others. Since we'll be using status effects for our main source of damage, Alchemist offers one of the very few damage buffs to affect them. The skill you want to use is Elixir of Life, a very powerful skill that drops a large pool of healing on the ground. If you have the effect it offers on you when taking fatal damage, you instead just hop right back up, allowing you to instantly revive your teammates and get a free mistake with 0 consequences. For your subclass, you want Medic. This is required for extra healing effectiveness and an additional 25 bump to all damage, which again affects statuses. With this class, you can revive faster and take relics at a better pace, helping you shoot more often than not. For the skill, you want Wellspring. This places down a pool of healing that allies and yourself can use for 15 seconds. It comes back much faster than the other medic skills, allowing you to use it over and over. With both of these classes, you have very effective healing and great ways to revive in co-op. Both of your skills can be used back to back for infinite healing pools, or you can stack them to become immortal. Both together grant a ton of healing, and if anyone goes down while in it, who cares, because everyone gets back up from the skill. A very nice setup on your own, as you can make more mistakes and stay alive, or take it into co-op and die less. Playing with randoms who are always dying is not nearly as fun, so come prepared to not annoy your compatriots. Also, people tend to be amazed at how you survive no matter what, and looking cool is always better than not. As for armor, we do want to be extremely tanky, but I also like not wearing the same thing as everybody else. Leto Mark 1 helmet for a Spartan look and to stand out. Then use Leto Mark 2 chest, Leto Mark 2 boots, and Labyrinth gloves. This offers the highest damage reduction you can get from armor, helping us reach 67% damage reduction with or without buffs. No, the difference between Leto Mark 1 helmet and Mark 2 helmet does not matter, and wearing an extremely small decrease in armor will not affect your tank gameplay whatsoever. As for our relic, we want the Tranquil Heart. This offers health regen just from equipping it, and it's how this build works. So empathy is an affixed bosses gain that makes them heal when you take a relic. But what if we never need to take our relic to have infinite healing? This relic, along with some traits and concoctions, will fully heal you back up from any damage taken. If empathy is not in the picture, then you can take the relic whenever you want to double the regeneration for 15 seconds, allowing you to be immortal regardless of affixes and not need to use the constant upkeep from Resonating Heart like in the other Root Doctor build. Be aware this does not mean that the Tranquil is better than Resonating. In fact, the Root Doctor build is nearly immortal through any attack. Here, we don't want to be getting hit, as too many attacks in a row does mean death, but things will very rarely kill you unless you're playing like a potato. As for relic fragments, you want elemental damage, armor effectiveness, and healing effectiveness. The damage helps our statuses, armor effectiveness to eat attacks all day, and the healing effectiveness as passive healing is very slow without some support. Your weapons are not too important, but you do need the mods and mutators to get the most effect. Black Maw is a very nice auto rifle here, as it has a good reload speed and fires with decent range. We need something that can crit to apply our bleeding. Since this does crit often enough without overheating, it's kind of our best choice. And for the mod, you want Hot Shot, as we will need it to apply burning. Do not use the stupid fire tornado, and please stop using it. In solo play, yeah, it's up to you, do whatever you want, but using it when your game is open to other players is extremely inconsiderate. No, I don't care if you're running kinship so that everyone takes less damage from it. No one wants to stare at a pillar of fire for the entire fight. Just stop using it in co-op. Then in solo play, the thing can come back towards you if bosses try to melee, so hotshot's just better overall here. The mutator will be twisting wounds as it applies bleeding on weak spot hits and crit hits. Bleeding will be needed to deal our best damage, and since we chose Black Maw, we can bleed even when enemies don't have weak spots. However, your ammo economy is quite low, so try to go for weak spots whenever possible. The Krell Axe will be your melee option as it applies shock and can do so from being thrown. Honestly, the most fun melee weapon for me, and the Reinvigorate mutator will help reduce the stamina cost of these throws. Then we have the Sidarm, which will be Nebula. If I had to rate it, I'd say it's the best sidearm overall as it applies one of the strongest DOTs and has Nanoswarm, which is definitely one of the strongest mods. Use this to apply corrosion, which will make enemies take 10% more damage, and activate the swarm as often as possible as they're extremely good damage-wise. Harmonizer is going to be best as your mutator to make the swarm as good as they can be. As you can probably tell, our idea is to apply burning, bleeding, shock, and acid over and over. This will deal considerable damage over time and allow you to focus on healing, dodging, and buffing the team rather than just gun DPS. So for amulets and rings, you want stuff for status damage. Ravager's Mark increases all damage dealt to bleeding targets by 20%. This goes up to 30% when enemies are below 50% health. This is the best status amulet. There are a couple, and while none of them are bad, this is definitely better. Since bleeding is so easy to apply, you get 20% more damage for all damage. Statuses are in fact buffed by this. Then, when bosses go below half health, they take a lot more damage. And really, you know the fight's in the bag at that point. Because of the existence of the amulet Whetstone that crits more often, the Ravager's Mark was built for statuses in mind, and will work best for this specific build. Stone of Malevolence makes elemental damage generate 15% additional mod power. Since we're using statuses, you'll always be dealing elemental damage and can get infinite mod use as a result. Ahane Crystal increases all damage to the target for each status applied to them. So for applying everything, we have about 20% more damage. And that gets even better if co-op partners are applying Slow or Madness. This is only available to those who beat one of the worlds on Hardcore Veteran. That's perfectly fine if you don't have it or don't want to try for it. Just swap it out for Burden of the Destroyer. An easy replacement off of the top of my head. Timekeeper's Jewel is a must for this build as it increases the duration of all status effects applied by the wearer. This means burning goes from staying on the boss for 10 seconds to staying for 20 seconds. Each has a different timer, but with this you can swap between the statuses, applying them over and over without having to do so at a very fast rate. Then finally, we have Ring of Omens, largely used since we have on the Ravager's Mark for a Shade Step. I think it's probably the easiest way to dodge attacks, aside from playing as Engineer with the turret in your hand for cheating iframes. And you could dodge infinitely as it uses health instead of stamina. Not usually great, but since we have limitless healing regen, you don't really care about it. This setup culminates in high mod regen, long status effects that deal high damage, and the Misty Step for infinite dodging that makes avoiding damage really easy. Before we do traits, we need to talk about the Concoctions. These are more important for your build, as with Alchemist, you can use 4 to gain several amazing buffs. Root Water increases health regen by 0.75 per second, stacking on top of the skill healing and passive Tranquil Heart healing. Sacred Lake Water increases gray health conversion by 50% and increases gray health regen by 1 per second. This makes sure your health is converted to gray instead of just being gone. And since the Ring of Omens already converts health to gray health, you're going to get some synergy there. Mudtooth Tonic grants 25 additional health, which when running tank, you want as much health as you can get. Then we have Bark Extract for an increase of 30 armor. It's a pretty nice boost to defense. With all 4 concoctions, you gain a lot of bonus health regen and better tank potential. In the end, you'll have a build that heals itself without ever using a relic, and paired up with skills, you can instantly out-heal any damage taken. As for traits, you want to have as much healing as you can get with good armor and ability cooldown. Fortify for much higher armor. Potency so concoctions last much longer, which is amazing, let me tell you. Regrowth for some bonus life regen. Triage so our healing is much more effective. Vigor for more health. No stamina as we don't need any. Our dodge uses health instead. Only 2 points in spirit because it's unavoidable as it comes with our classes. But we do not need this trait as the Stone of Malevolence completely negates any need for it. Expertise so that we can spam the healing pools as much as possible and then run 8 points into Amplitude. This will boost the AoE or range of both of your healing skills. Without it, they are way too small to be effective in every situation, and a large radius is needed in co-op for sure. Then we want Bloodstream for better gray health regen, and Siphoner, as statuses do work with this to give back some health. I think it's a pretty low amount, but we're stacking so much health regen that it does factor in. Also, since we're using Black Maw and the Nanoswarm mod, they can heal you quickly. When it's all said and done, you have as much health regen as you can get without even using a relic. Now be sure to buy these items called Blood Root. These grant 1.5 health regen per second, but the buff will not last very long. However, since we're running Alchemist, your co-op partners are also going to gain this regen amount when you use one. So when you think, oh crap, this attack might be tough to dodge, use this for as high of health regen as you can get, and then you're supporting the team at the same time. Overall, this build takes a lot to put together, but once you have it, the idea is very simple. Use your skills to heal through damage and quickly apply all the statuses. This gives you a ton of damage and an easy way to avoid attacks or eat right through them. This is the best build I have made, even better than the Root Doctor. It's harder to die in that build, yes, but here you instead try to dodge and play the game like normal. Except if you mess up, it really isn't a big deal. I mainly got a little tired of running solo when I'm recording and wanted to help out some randoms. But when running randoms, it kind of sucks as they'll shoot you in the back, never revive you, or not deal enough damage to take on bosses. This final Spartan build allows you to not only support them with non-stop healing, but also hand out revives like candy, grant multiple buffs from your relic and consumables, and dish out loads of damage. Yes, this does indeed work on the final boss and actually is the single best build for Annihilation that I've ever used in co-op. I was able to avoid all the damage, and since the boss can get out of your range, you're still doing damage to him from the DOTs when he flies away. This build is S tier, and by far my new favorite way to play Remnant 2. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, a like down below would be awesome. As always, a full pick of my build will be at the end here, and seriously, if you've watched all the way through and are hearing this, thank you. People don't really watch full build guides often, and your attention is very much appreciated. Unfortunately, Remnant 2 is already in a rough spot, with every single patch releasing new issues, and in some cases making the game run way worse. But even so, it's still a blast, as the gameplay is about as good as it gets. Get out there and show the Root that Spartans never die, they're just missing in action.